I'm Travis with Rule 1, and we're going to go into how to read a 10K. A 10K is an annual document filed by every publicly traded company by the SEC, or to the SEC, I should say. And so it's a legal document. They have to publish it once a year, and it contains all the critical information about the business for that last year and what their plans are for the future. So when I think about a 10K, how I relate it to real life is that if you think of a 10K as an autobiography on a person, it tells you everything about the person's history from the time they were born to their current period. And it tells you even about their financial health and their medical health and what they want to do in the future. So a 10K is the same thing for a business. It tells you everything about their operations. It tells you about what they do, how they make money, and what they see for the future and where they want to take the company. This is important because if you meet somebody for the first time, you don't just stare at them, right? You start asking some questions. You want to engage, right? You say, what's your name? Where are you from? Where did you go to school? What are your passions? Well, since a company can't speak to you, the 10K answers all those questions that you would normally ask somebody when you meet them for the first time, so that you can get to know the company at a level that you wouldn't otherwise be able to. So this satisfies a lot of the aspects that we look for in our meaning checklist, and also even in our moat and management section of our analysis. The first thing I tell everybody about a 10K is do not be intimidated by the 10K. Depending on the business, you'll see them range from 80 pages to I've seen them as long as 300 pages. And what I always tell everybody is that a 10K is fundamentally structured the same way for every company. They follow a pretty common template. And most 10Ks will start with a business section. So there's two places that I commonly find 10Ks. One is the Rule 1 toolbox. You can go to the company page and then link to the 10K from there. The other way to do it is to simply type in the company name that you're interested in and investor relations right after it. And it's going to take you to their investor relations page. And there's a section called SEC filings. It's usually always called SEC filings or SEC documents. So SEC stands for Securities and Exchange Commission, but you're just going to see it as SEC. And they'll usually provide you a link to either a 10K and all the other filings that companies have to file every year or every quarter. I always start with the business section. It's usually only 2 or 3 pages, and it's actually pretty interesting material. If this company's within your circle of competence, you're going to find it fairly interesting. It's going to tell you what they do, what customers they serve, how they make money, and how they accomplish that, what kind of goals do they have inside the company. And so I start there. That's a very quick read. And if you can get through that stage, then you should feel pretty comfortable moving on to the other section that I believe is really critical, which is called management discussion. It's typically towards the middle or end of the 10K. And what they'll do is they'll actually describe to you exactly how do they think they performed over the last year and what are their plans going forward. And they'll go into a fair amount of detail about specific parts of the business. And so that's the section of the 10K that'll really give you some insight into the management team and actually where you think this business might be going in the future, if it's something that you want to continue to learn about. The other hack that I like to use for a 10K is they're searchable. So when you go to the Rule 1 toolbox and go get the 10K through that process rather than going to the company directly, the toolbox brings up a searchable document. And you can click the find feature and you can type in a keyword. So let's say you want to know about debt, and you can type in the keyword debt, and it's going to highlight every single word. Every time debt is mentioned in the document, tell you how many times, and you can just thumb through and just quickly search for any content that's on debt. And that is a great hack. It saves you a tremendous amount of time. So do I actually read every 10K front to back? No. I read a few of the critical sections, and then we do keyword searches, and we drill in on the information that we really care about. An example of a really outstanding 10K that I've read in the past is Sprouts Farmers Market. And what I like about theirs is that they lead with a letter from the shareholders, to the shareholders from the CEO, And this is a great this is a great thing because basically the CEO is speaking to you as a shareholder, and they're describing in relatively simple terms at a high level what they've accomplished over the year. Both what we're looking for is what has gone well, but also what has not gone well. We want to see that the CEO is comfortable telling us, the investor, what is not working and what they're going to do to fix it, and then what their plans are for the future. So Sprouts is great about doing that. The other aspect I love about their presentation is that they will also provide effectively a PowerPoint presentation, very graphical summary of their business, right? It'll go through the last maybe year or quarter, and it'll describe their business at a very high level, very summary level, and some of their key metrics, some of the key KPIs, key performance indicators that they like to share and see how those are progressing. And in Sprouts' case, they're going through a stage where they're trying to grow their store count from about 400 stores to about 800 to 1,000 stores over the next 10 to 20 years. And they're very clearly outlining what that looks like in a graphic that shows where they've been and then where they project that they're going. And I think that that's a really great place to start looking at a 10K, just to get comfortable with it, to see what kind of information can be presented, how you can sort of see it for yourself in very simple terms and not be intimidated by a 10K, because it's very common for people to look at this document, see how large it is, and just imagine themselves sitting there trying to read through everything, when in fact you don't. You just need to know what to look for and where to look for it. The key takeaway is that a 10K is not as daunting as it appears. Despite the page count, there's only a few pieces of critical information that we actually use from a 10K. And so in a typical, let's say 150-page document, we're probably only reading 30 or 40 actual pages of that document. And at the end of the day, if this is a company that's really inside your circle of competence and it really has meaning to you and you're really excited about learning it, it's going to be much easier. And again, that's the genius of Phil, is that he knew, right, that your investment success would increase drastically if the company had meaning. And one of the reasons is that you're going to actually want to learn about it. Thanks for watching this week's video. And if you want to learn more, go to rule1investing.com and hit like and subscribe here.